You've just entered the law offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. If you've come for actual legal advice, you need to turn right around, honey. You need to get out of here, 'cause you ain't gonna get none of that. They quibble, and they squabble, and they bicker. But if you want to hear meaningless opinions, this is the right place. They got plenty of that. Stuff that makes no sense at all. They go off on tangents. It's crazy talk. If that's your thing, keep listening. They'll keep talking.
Oh no no, oh no no, it's another episode of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. You've entered the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. Yay!
Welcome back to another edition of the Law Offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker on this April 17th, 2021. We have a great guest for all of you today, a great guest counsel, that is, guest attorney who's going to be helping us later on with our client. There are no fat vampires. And her name is ARO, which is short for Amanda Rose O'Connor, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
And
that's it. You got
great. And she is an aspiring actress. Has got an album that's about to drop in this summer, and has apparently been living on this earth for hundreds of years, or 22, depending upon your point of view, and has gotten involved in a very interesting part of the entertainment universe. Her manager, you would all recognize him from the second Superman with Christopher Reeve, where he was played the character Non, one of the villains that came from Krypton to beat up Superman. Anyway, so Arrow, why don't you tell us a little bit about your album and what your plans are?
All right. So the album's gonna probably come out, I would say probably around summertime. I wrote it when I was actually 18. I'm 22 now, but I wrote it when I was around 18, 19 years old. And it's kind of like, I guess, anything personal, kind of like a diary or a journal. Each song covers a different topic about something. A lot of it talks about just heartbreak or being lonely or really not accepted. And I think the album really kind of it's very real, I feel like, and because it really talks about a lot of real life experiences and really real things. And I feel like a lot of people sometimes do feel very alone, and they aren't sure if other people kind of feel the way that they feel, because sometimes it could be lonely being sad and
I think you're
upset.
describing Greg's entire existence, honestly.
Really? Yeah, I mean, that's how I felt. I kind of was always a loner. I never really had like a ton of friends. I was never really popular. So going through all those experiences, I feel like people are also in the same position. But sometimes people feel alone. So I feel like if they hear a song that they could relate to and understand, I feel like it just makes people feel less alone. So that's kind of the whole idea of the album, is that people will listen and just feel like someone's there for them and they don't feel so alone.
So you seem very personable. What makes you think that you weren't popular whenever you felt you should have been popular?
I don't know. I was just such a loner growing up. I never really, I would say, fit in. I don't know.
Did
I
you
mean,
were you like walking around spitting on people or something, or like
no,
how did
no,
you alienate all these people? You kick them in the shins, or
no, I wasn't really, I mean, I'm a pretty social person now, but I would say like back then I wasn't that social.
hmm
Um, and I was always into music and art and acting. And I feel like a lot of the people that I was around really didn't share the same interests as me, weren't, a lot of people I was around were very academic people. I was a terrible student in school. I switched schools. I was always in trouble. I was always. So I guess that's kind of why, is because I was more just into like the music life and the acting type life. And a lot of people, I guess, really weren't. So I guess I was kind of weird to people. And,
Oh,
I was
well,
just,
you just said something that makes me want to dig in a little deeper. So you said you were always in trouble. So
hmm
so maybe you
yeah.
actually were spitting on people. What exactly were you doing to get yourself in trouble?
Um, I mean, I was so against the idea, I would say, of like learning. Like I hated school. Hated school. I never wanted to learn anything. I never got good grades. I was kind of like a rebel. I was kind of like a rebellious kid. But it kind of just separated me from everybody else, I guess, in a way, because I just didn't really want to play by the rules. And
So
that's
you were
kind of how.
like making bomb threats to the school or pulling
No, no,
like
not
the.
like that. Not like that. No, no, no.
Okay.
I just didn't care. I just didn't care about the classes. I didn't care about the teachers really. I just like didn't care. I was just that teenager.
Okay, so
So
it wasn't so much that you were like selling meth out of the high school
no,
bathrooms or anything.
no,
Okay.
I wasn't that. No, no, no. I
Okay,
wasn't
good.
that. No, no.
You might
Just
have made more friends if you did
Or
that.
and a lot more money,
I know.
more than likely. Yeah. And
Yeah.
friends that were dressed in blue.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it's an album that people will relate to, where it's like it's just not about being cool and popular and perfect. It's an album about not being perfect. You know what I mean? It's an album about not being okay and accepting that you're not okay, and accepting that it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to feel hurt, and it's okay to have heartbreak, And I think in sometimes today's society, like, people just want to be perfect, want to look perfect, want to act perfect. And that's not reality. People aren't perfect.
Guilty is charged.
Yeah,
right
Greg
here.
is far too fashionable for the rest of the world.
I'm always trying to be perfect.
Yeah. So I
I'm
mean,
just trying not to be deplorable usually. I'm just
I mean-
hoping.
yeah, but yeah, so I think really it's just something that people could relate to in a way, to say, wow, I feel like this, and it's okay to feel like this. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be perfect.
So it's I'm okay, you're not okay, or vice versa. I'm not okay, you're okay.
Well, meaning like it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be damaged and accept it, but it's also good to take your pain and turn it into some type of art, or turn it into something good. Like, that's like really the whole reason why I did this, is because, I it's okay to feel like you are hurting, and it's okay to feel damaged, but I feel like it's just not okay to give up, and not do anything with your life.
At what point did you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Greg.
When you were in high school and you were sad, like many teenagers are, what was the music that got you through, that like made you feel like, okay, the sad music you liked?
I listen to, I love Lana Del Rey. She's like my queen. I love her. She has amazing songs. And I love Eminem. The two rap songs that I wrote were kind of Eminem inspired, just because he talks about so many of his like real life experiences. And I feel like that's just such a brave thing to do. I mean, even not if everything he says is the best stuff, obviously, but it's real, and at the end of the day, I feel like being real is like the most important thing, because you're not trying to put on this fake persona, and you're not trying to pretend that you're somebody you're not. And I just think that's really important, is to
I'm an old man, so I don't know much about Eminem, but doesn't he sing about puking up spaghetti?
Eminem is almost your age, Greg. You can't use that as an excuse
I don't
anymore.
listen to him. He wasn't popular when I was like, I don't know, listening to.
What are you talking about? I listen to Eminem, and I'm older than you.
Yeah, you listen to current stuff. I stopped listening to music.
Eminem's not that current,
ago.
but so I was confused because she was saying she was inspired to Eminem, and I was wondering, do you have like an ex-wife who's trying to take your kid away, ARO, or?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's good news. That's good news. You don't have that kind of drama in your life.
No, unfortunately, I don't have that. So, but yeah, he's cool. He definitely inspired me a lot. I was like listening to him when I was like 12. I always liked him because he was like kind of rebellious. So it was relatable,
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Eminem has been essentially rebellious through the extent majority of his career, I would say. What point did you feel that this was the path you wanted to be on, Laurie? You said, okay, now, because you went to Lee Strasberg Institute for acting, but it wasn't like the Lee Strasberg Institute for making an album. So
no, yeah, no.
What caused you to shift gears, or are you still on that same gear from before?
Well, I love acting. I really want to do it too. I just kind of got a little distracted by the music part, because I got so heavily involved with the music and being in the studio all the time. Really, I got involved in music, I think in my first year actually of Lee Strasberg. Okay. I got really involved, and I would say probably because a lot of the experiences of being at acting school, you deal with a lot of different people, and you deal with a lot of different situations in acting school. So I would say a lot of those situations from acting school definitely inspired some of this album, because there's so much material to write from. So it's pretty cool.
Me and Matt have never really acted. before, but every now and then we like to reenact scenes from Brokeback Mountain just to practice acting a little.
Oh,
It's
really?
kind of fun.
Oh, really? I've never seen the movie, Greg. What would I be reenacting?
Well, I would always feed you the lines, remember?
No, I don't remember, Greg.
Oh, you were drunk, I think.
I
You
think
maybe a little
you're going to have
drunk.
to explain this in more detail. So exactly what are you saying that we were doing? So
We were reenacting scenes from Brokeback Mountain
uh-huh.
to practice our acting. You know, you're doing scenes. That's what actors do.
So this is a mountain like about a movie about trappers?
It's about cowboys.
Cowboys who live on a mountain.
Very manly cowboys, very masculine, manly cowboys.
Okay, because normally cowboys are incredibly effeminate.
No, these guys are really macho, but they kiss each other.
Oh, okay. Now I see where you're heading with this. Okay.
You never saw Brokeback Mountain.
I never saw the movie, no. And I
Sad.
don't know that my wife would necessarily agree with us reenacting those particular scenes, but who knows? I'll ask her, see if she'll be okay with it. So when did you start getting your style? Because you do have quite the fancy hat there.
I really honestly probably when I got into acting school, because in high school I really didn't care about dressing. It's high school, I was a teenager, but when I got into acting school, I went to the Lee Strasberg in Manhattan. So everyone was like dressing pretty stylish, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to like up my game a little bit. So I kind of got it, I guess, really at acting school. I started dressing very differently than I did in high school, elevated my style a little bit.
When did you leave the Institute? How long ago?
I left when I was 20.
Okay,
20
so
years.
just a couple years ago. So anybody you went to school with now a famous person or getting really involved in stuff? Anybody you know of?
Oof, I don't really think so, actually.
No, they're
I
just all
know.
slackers.
Yeah, I know. It's such a tough business. It's hard because there's so much rejection, and it's tough to navigate the business. I mean, it's such a gamble, but a lot of people that are famous now did go to Strasberg. I think Lady Gaga went to Strasberg, and Angelina Jolie, Al Pacino, obviously, Robert De Niro, all those guys. So it's a pretty well-known school.
Well, I know that even John Voight went there, which is Angelina Jolie's father. But
He did.
And Alec Baldwin and
Alec
lots of people. Yeah.
Hoffman went, I believe. I think he went too. I think Al Pacino actually comes back to visit like once in a while. I didn't catch him there. I wish, but no, I didn't see him there. But I think he once in a while comes back to like give a speech or a talk or something.
Makes you wonder if Lee Strasberg actually ever went to his own school. I remember Lee Strasberg in at least one movie, but I think he did better as an acting coach.
Godfather. Did you see him in The Godfather?
I must have, because I've seen The Godfather.
He is Hyman Roth. I forget the name, but I know he was a mobster. I think he was a Jewish mobster or something. I don't know what he was.
That would have made sense. The name like Strasberg, they would put him in as Jewish mob.
Meyer Lansky.
He could have been the Meyer Lansky type role that was in the movie.
He was definitely a big mobster, and I think it was the first one, but I'm not too sure. But
So
I know
with a name like O'Connor, you're probably Jewish, right?
Me? No. I'm half Puerto Rican and Irish.
Oh, okay.
What?
I mean, O'Connor's not a Jewish name?
I thought you were Swedish.
Really?
Yeah, Norwegian.
I'm half Puerto Rican. I'm a little Irish and a little Italian, but I'm mostly Puerto Rican.
She's almost got like your background, Greg.
I know. I know when I tell them, but I'm like, you know what? We come in all colors. We're all cool.
Well, Greg is like part Italian, part Spanish or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But my mom's from like the north of Spain, Galicia, where they lisp. So they're kind of blonde and blue-eyed. So I have blue eyes, even though my dad's Sicilian.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm not actually blonde. I have like really dark brown hair, but I dye it because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not actually blonde either, so we're in the same boat.
So could you indulge us, ARO, and could you do a scene from Godfather, Marlon Brando? Could you do just a couple lines?
Time, guys. I don't know. It's a little before my time. I don't know.
Hey, you see The Godfather?
If I knew it, I would definitely do it. I haven't watched The Godfather, and I probably should, but I haven't. But I should. Like,
what are your favorite movies? What kind of movies do you love and are inspired by to act? Like the actors you like?
Bug's Life, obviously.
Me, I'm a big Tim Burton fan. I would kill to be in a Tim Burton movie. I love Tim Burton films.
But would you kill Tim Burton to be in a Tim Burton movie?
That would defeat the purpose.
Couldn't be the Tim Burton film.
He couldn't be.
Well, would you kill Helena Bonham Carter then to be in a Tim Burton movie?
She's incredible. Her range is just unbelievable. I aspire to be like her. Her range is so iconic.
And everybody, when she's talking about her range, she means like her stovetop. That's what she's talking about when she says range.
She's not.
Yeah.
Or her home that's on the
Yeah, exactly.
Enough.
I cannot help myself.
You're digging yourself deeper. Cut it out.
I don't think I've ever not been that deep. It's always that deep, Greg.
ARO, I was just a few months ago. I rewatched Fight Club for the first time in years, and Helena Bonham Carter in that she is just amazing. Have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my Lord,
well, Greg, you've ruined it because the first rule of Fight Club is to not talk about Fight Club.
That's okay. Watch it. I love her.
Well, if you like excellent acting, Fight Club is a great movie to watch. It's got Edward Norton and Brad Pitt as the two main characters. And don't let anybody tell you about it because there's a lot of twists and turns in it that you don't want ruined. Yeah, you don't want things ruined. You don't even want to know that there are things that are going to twist and turn in it. So just watch it going in blind. Don't watch any previews, but it's a highly recommended movie by at least the two of us. And a lot of other people watched it too.
Yeah, I mean,
two movie experts.
I gotta watch it. I just never got around to it, but I gotta watch.
I think at your age, there's so many movies that people recommend to you that it's got to be hard to catch up, especially if you're trying to make an album and do things that are creative as opposed to being just a spectator like the two of us.
There's a lot, yeah, but I love movies, so I don't mind watching. I could watch movies all day. One thing I'm not really that great about is reading. I don't really like reading. I know I'm an actor, so
for a second I thought you said breeding, and I'm like, okay, that's good. At your age, it's good. You don't want to get into breeding too much now, unless it's like hamsters or billy goats. But that's a different occupation.
Those are all viable job options at her age. Where she's at.
Breeding hamsters and billy goats.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Especially, you're in Manhattan, right?
Yeah, I'm in LA right now.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you were in New York. I don't know why I thought you were in New York. Oh, it's because your publicist is part of my Facebook feed, and she sent these pictures, and I thought she was in New York. Mm-hmm. So that's why I assumed that you were in New York too. So, but no.
Now, when you cyber stalk people, you should admit it to them.
What were you saying?
I'm from New York, but I'm just visiting LA.
Oh, okay. Well, how long are you on the West Coast for?
Probably I think 2 weeks, probably.
Okay.
2 weeks. Yeah.
All right, Greg. So now you know she'll be in town for 2 weeks.
Well, so I'm gonna hop on a flight down to LA.
That's right. We're in Oregon's right now, so the two of us.
I'll take you to Musso's.
You guys should fly down.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg, just get out of here.
Okay, I'm signing off. I gotta call the airline right now.
I catch a flight. Well, I think this is a good moment to bring up our client for the day. And our client is somebody that needs, obviously, a lot of help. And hopefully, ARO can provide a lot of insight into helping out this client and their needs. Oh. Our client is, there are no fat vampires. And essentially, what that means is we're about to go deep into a rabbit hole involving vampires. But we can start off with the concept of why there are no fat vampires is because they're all on keto diets.
There you go.
There's no carbs.
No carbs.
No carbs in the vampire diet.
So, I mean, that could be why. And yeah, that could be why.
They do get some fiber, though, when they have to bite through people's clothing. And then they get a little fiber.
But do you think if they are attacking diabetics who have generally like a high amount of blood sugar in their systems, could that affect the diet of your average vampire to where they could get fat, Greg?
I've never seen it. That's the thing. Can I just say real quick, this is a last minute client, just like ARO is our last minute guest. So obviously not a lot of thought went into this. We're going to do our best, though. I just want to say, give us a break.
The client has paid us a lot of money to help them out, so we have to figure
this one out. See, that I don't know if there are fat vampires. I've never seen one and all. I've seen tons of vampire movies. I've seen thousands of movies in my life. Many vampire movies. Never seen a fat vampire. And Why is that? I think it's because vampires always have to be kind of cool and sexy.
You know, I
always have
have
to be
seen
kinda
I have
hot.
seen like
Yeah.
1 or 2 fat vampires, to be honest, on screen, and
Which
that was in
ones?
the TV show True Blood.
Oh, because that's like a modern take.
I'm a
Yes.
big Vampire Diary fan, so I always wanted to be like one of those vampires on that show. So cool.
So
What's the
if
name
you
of the
were a
show, Arrow?
vampire, would you be wearing your current outfit or something black, which is apparently what is
Oh,
required attire as a vampire is you have to wear leather.
black for sure. My nickname was a vampire in school because I'm so pale. I never get tan, and I'm Puerto Rican, and it's crazy. I just don't get tan. So literally, everyone used to make fun of me because I'm so pale, and they just called me a vampire all the time.
So that was their nickname for you, is vampire?
And
Yeah,
look, you're a fan. You prove my
Arrow.
point.
My name ARO is actually a vampire in Twilight. There's a vampire in Twilight named ARO. Same
Is
spelling, everything.
spelled the same way too.
Spelled the same way.
Did you
Did
find
you
this
start-
out later or did you steal it?
No, I didn't see it. No, I found it out after.
And you were like, gosh darn it, I'm not unique anymore. How did that happen?
Do you
It works.
sparkle?
Vampire, I guess.
She's
So.
sparkling now, Greg.
But I do. That's why I don't go into the sun. I sparkle. That's why I wear hats, because I'm afraid of the sun. I'm scared.
It protects her.
Huh.
It does. It protects me because I burn. I fry. I fry in the sun. I can't go in the sun.
You know, I'm not familiar with I mean, I know of Vampire Diaries, but I'm not really familiar with the storyline. Was that like a CW show or something, or
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
CW. Sure. I'm pretty sure it was. It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, what made that show a good vampire show? I mean, because you know the basic premise of vampires is pretty much the same. You basically
Yeah.
chomp on people's necks, you drink their blood, you live forever, blah blah blah, and you die
Mhm.
in various different exciting ways. So,
Mhm.
what made that one different? Was it like a soap opera or something, or?
No, I would say there was like a lot of drama. It was so dramatic. A lot of like sob stories. A lot of people died. A lot of people came back to life. There was witches. There was like a ton of stuff. So
They're
I think
mummies?
mummies. No, I don't think so. I don't think there was mummies, but there was witches and stuff like
I
that.
probably won't watch it then. I'm just at the mummies. mostly.
There have to be
Re-
mummies in
I'm
your
a mummy
vampire
fan.
stories.
Yeah.
Do
You
you
gotta
need
have a little
blob?
mummy.
Do you need blobs in your witches stories, Greg?
Blobs. That's not a classic monster. It was in 2 movies, The
The
Blob.
blob, that is a classic monster. The fact that we both
There's
know
a
it and
two
can refer
movies.
to it
Yeah.
makes it a classic
It's
monster.
not from like European folklore or something.
What if the blob was a vampire? Then they would like obviously, you know, ruin our client, which is there are no fat vampires, but
Yeah, he's pretty fat, the Blob.
yeah, that's right.
I
People always
guess-
had trouble getting away from the blob too. What were you saying, Arrow?
No, it's like if you think about it, I guess there are really no fat vampires. I don't know.
Yeah, because
There's
they're all keto diets. You know, I don't know if you know that there's a whole underground movement of people who are like really think that they're vampires.
I've seen some of that. Some people they get like their teeth shaven to
Ye-
have fangs.
Yeah, they file them
That's-
down.
I
But
thought
there's-
about that, but I was like, no, I shouldn't do that.
Your
Well, I think it
nickname
would make it
already is
easier to
vampire.
open up tin cans and stuff. But
That would be kind of cool, but I was like, no, I can't do that.
As a woman, you could give us your insight. Do you find it seems like the vampires always have to be sexy? You know, they're the sexy monster. Frankenstein isn't sexy. Mummies
Yeah.
aren't sexy.
Yeah. I mean,
would you say
vampire.
that Bela Lugosi was sexy though?
Women thought he was like exotic and Eastern European and sexy. Yeah.
Hmm.
He got all the women. In the movie, he seduces all the women he meets. He hypnotizes them.
It's with his eyeballs.
Yeah. So is that a thing with women? Like there's something sexy about vampires to women?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like definitely attractive. I think like vampire is like the cool thing to be. If you're a vampire, you know, it's just like, oh, kill me, you know.
It's better than being a blob.
You're
I guess.
attractive, right? I don't know. But yeah, no, it's definitely appealing. Cool. I mean, better than being regular, I guess.
I mean, is the appealing thing about it the fact that you get to suck on blood all the time, or is it the
like the-
living forever part?
I think it's more like the powers that come with it, because like every vampire, I think, can have like different cool powers. So like that's
Uh-huh.
cool. Yeah.
So like if vampires are superheroes, like
I guess so. Because some of them could do like they could read minds and stuff, and like they could change the past, our future. I don't know. There's a bunch of things I think that they could do.
Greg is talking, but we can't hear him because he's muted himself. So this is where we get the opportunity to say
I'm
really bad
sorry.
things about him.
I didn't mute when I was coughing. Thought I did, and then I did the opposite. So I'm sorry about coughing.
That's how you should do every show, Greg. Mute when you're talking and cough unmuted.
And belching.
That's
so
right.
Do you guys?
That's all we want to hear.
Here's a question for you guys: if they were, do you think you could ward off a Jewish vampire with a Star of David? Would that affect a Jewish vampire?
It depends on how orthodox that vampire happens to be. So, if they were a Reform Jew vampire, you could probably just say L'chaim and push him away, because that's probably more of the part of Judaism that they believe. However, if they're more orthodox or of a conservative Jew, then I think you have a better shot with the Star of David. But it depends upon if they're pro-Israel or not, since the Star of David is on the flag of Israel. I think that's another aspect to it that you could look at, Greg.
Makes sense.
You really thought that through a little too much, man, I think. Acidic vampires.
Yes, exactly. You can have the Sephardic or the Ashkenazis, whichever ones, it just depends upon how beholden to the faith they are. And I think that was dealt with in some vampire movie where I think there was like a Jewish vampire and they tried to use a cross on him and he like laughed. He's like, I'm Jewish. What are you trying to do?
He called them schmeckleheads.
I don't think
Nice
you would ever
try,
say
putz.
schmecklehead. You would just say schmeckle.
Schmeckle.
Yeah, you'd only say schmecklehead if you're pretending you're a Jew.
What about Italian vampires? How would you ward them off?
Obviously with meatballs and marinara sauce. Yeah,
And
garlic. Of course, garlic is probably where it comes from.
No.
I think ARO's got that on the head.
Yeah.
She hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
Definitely use garlic against Italian vampires.
Probably.
I would love it. I love garlic. I would just be thank you. Please
Yeah, no,
more.
but you're as a vampire, you're kind of like the opposite of how you used to be. So
This is confusing
you'd
now.
be anti-garlic if you were an Italian vampire. And you could do that with probably all the various different nationalities.
So if I was a Italian vampire, you could ward me off with like shitty Domino's pizza?
No, with like a really nice pizza. You'd probably go for a shitty
Yeah.
pizza.
Oh yeah, duh. I can't wrap my head around this opposite thing for some reason. It's confusing.
Just imagine that you're Bizarro Superman.
Yes.
And that's the world you live in. So you have so like if you were a Bizarro vampire, then you would actually everybody would be sucking your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see the movie Underworld?
Yes.
That's not familiar.
Oh, you probably
vampires
really,
versus-
if you haven't seen Underworld, you probably really enjoy it because that's where the lead character is a female, sexy vampire.
Oh, okay.
Kate Beckinsale is the lead actress in it. There's like a series of 4 or 5 of them.
But basically, the shtick arrow is it's vampires versus werewolves. It's almost like they've been fighting forever, and that one kind of makes werewolves kind of sexy in a biker way. All the werewolves are kind of like biker dudes, the bad boys that you're not supposed to like, that your mom warned you against.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes werewolves kind of hot too in a different way.
Did your mother warn you against bikers, Greg?
No, werewolves, because she was very sensible. Stay away from Gregory. Stay away from werewolves. They're no good.
I like werewolves. They're kind of cool though, honestly, if you think about it. Like you could turn into a wolf. Like how cool is that? That's kind of cool.
I wanted my nickname when I was in elementary school was Wolf, only because I tried to make it my nickname and it didn't stick, as you can imagine. I can't pull that name off.
So you're like trying to tell
Wolf?
people you have to call me Wolf?
I was like, call me Wolf, guys, and they were like, no, you idiot, we'll call you Manatee if anything, or whatever.
Manatee.
Weasel.
Weasel.
I'm just not cool enough to be a wolf, that's not me. But I wanted to. I loved wolves. All my book reports were about them, and I also wanted to be a werewolf too, so I could turn into one.
That is cool. I don't blame you. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So what would be
Will
a
you
cool
call me
thing?
Wolf,
Either of you can answer this. What would be cool about being a wolf?
They're fast and strong and
They're intimidating.
primal.
I feel like it'd be cool to like make people scared of you. Like they're intimidating. You know what I mean? Like those teeth. I want those like really strong fangs they have. Those teeth are so cool.
You've got a theme about teeth, don't you?
Probably because I literally want to be a vampire, but
So if you watch Underworld, at one point there's something that becomes a cross between a vampire and a werewolf, and I think that's the thing
really?
you're going for. Yeah,
Yeah,
Put
I'd be
that
so-
on your list next to Godfather because they're similar quality.
I
Should
have
be a
to.
werevamp.
Right. Well,
Would
it's
you guys call me Wolf for the rest of the podcast, by the way? Indulge me. Come on.
no, Greg. I would
So I'm
not.
going to change my name real quick on the screen here.
I'm gonna
Wait,
call
let me
you
get my pencil.
call you Coyote.
That's pretty cool.
Coyote.
You be the guy who like brings people across the border, and that'll be your
Yes.
name. And then we'll have the border patrol coming after you because they should have known about you years ago anyway.
I'm too crafty. I'm like the Coyote God
You're the Coyote God.
of Native American myth. He's crafty. He's like Loki.
ARO, I have to apologize. This does happen often whenever we deal with our client. The client basically gets ignored as we go off into weird tangents, and we've
No.
certainly hit that. And I
It's
want to also.
I like the conversation. It's interesting.
Let's talk about watermelons now. Can we, please?
What about watermelons that turn into wolves?
Weremelons?
That's that's interesting.
It'd be
That's
werewaterwolves. We have to get full alliteration there.
If you could have another kind of were animal, like a werebat or a werecat. Is
Oh,
there
obviously
another?
a were-naked mole rat is the one you'd go for.
That's what you'd go for?
That's right.
Arrow, what would you go for if like there was something better than a werewolf, like a were panther? I don't know.
Were-bear? A
A
were
were
whale?
tiger?
where lion, something like the mix of like a lion and a wolf. If that, I don't know.
She
Something
wants
like
things with fangs, Greg. We just know
Yeah.
this already.
It's all about chewing things.
the cool part.
It's like she sounds like you're already sounding scary. You said you wanted to be scary. You're already sounding scary because you're going for all of these things with fangs. So
Yeah,
any
that's
friends
right.
of Arrow who watch us later, and I pity any of you who do,
Sorry.
beware of Arrow and her fang fetish.
Because I bite.
That's right. She might be heading after you before
Do you
you
think
know.
being called vampire so much, it's kind of got into your brain, and you're like, maybe I am
Probably.
a
Want to call me that? Fine. Come here. I'll bite you then. If you want to.
vampire. And I'll prove it.
Oh yeah, let me prove it. You think you're tough?
It's probably
I'll
a
break-
theme through your album. Like Damaged is actually about the thing you're not telling people that you actually are a vampire, and that's where the true
Don't-
damage lies.
Oh my gosh.
Or it's about going out in the sun in the
Secret.
daytime.
That's why I only go out at night. I only go out at night because I sparkle.
Ah.
I'm doing a secret.
On a completely different note, this is a question I meant to ask and I forgot completely. How did you get your current manager? Where did you guys connect? And
It's such a crazy story. It's actually
oh,
really.
that's what we want. We want the crazy story. Now we know he's
Bring the
probably not a
crazy.
vampire, but we can move along with the story anyway.
He's a Kryptonian.
Oh man. So basically I grew up in New York my whole entire life, and we used to vacation in this place called Ocean City, New Jersey. It's like a little beach town or whatever. And I really wanted to go to the high school there because I always wanted to like live at a beach town. So when I graduated middle school in New York, me and my dad moved to Ocean City, and the building that we moved to had our neighbor in the building was a producer. He did like a bunch of records back in the day or whatever. So he tried helping me with my music, and then he introduced us to a couple of other people. That someone that knew Jack, one of like our neighbors, basically, he introduced me to Jack eventually after my producer helped me make my album. So it's so crazy how, like, if I'd never moved to this specific building, I would literally be nowhere because I wouldn't have met these people. And he literally helped me make my entire album. He's really an amazing guy. His name is Gabe, but he's awesome, and he helped me make my entire album. And then we met Jack through a couple of those people. So
Cool.
So what does Gabe do?
Gabe is a producer, and
Okay.
he used to make music. He has a gold album, I think, from back in the day, and I'm pretty sure that Elvis actually sang one of his songs that he wrote. He used to write music for people, I believe, and he used to do things when he was younger. But when I started getting into the music, he offered to help me, and he took me into the studio and helped me. I knew nothing about music before I met him, so he really helped me, and he really took interest in me. And then we met a couple of other people of our neighbors that were kind of in the business, and then we met Jack, and I was fortunate enough to meet Eileen, and then it just went on from there. So, and now I'm in LA because I had a meeting with them yesterday. So it's cool.
Can you talk about what happened in the meeting? Is this like all behind the scenes machinations and?
Oh, it was me and Jack, Eileen, Jimmy Starr was there, Ron Russell was there. It was great. You know, I never met them before. I met Jack before, but I never met everybody else in person. So it was just like really good to like meet them. And Jimmy Starr had me on his show. I've been on Brian Sebastian's show. Yeah, it was just really cool. We're talking about how we're gonna do some more PR, and hopefully when I release the music, they'll help me kind of meet some more people and promote it. So it's cool. It's really cool how everything happens. You know what I mean? If I never did this one thing, I would never be where I am right now. So it's just so cool how things just fall into place.
Right, and you can put being on our show now as the top of that list of the accomplishments.
I have
You
to.
never thought you could have made it on our show. Who'd have thought?
No,
In
I
your
never
wildest dreams.
If I never moved when I was younger, I would have never been here. So
It's
I'm
like,
so
this
happy.
is the pinnacle of show business, is being on this particular podcast.
No, this is so exciting. I really know it's an awesome opportunity. I've never done anything like this really before. Like I'm getting so used to like doing these things. So it's really fun to like just talk to people and like, you know, hang out. It's cool.
Well,
How
you
many
know,
podcasts
the
do you
cool
do a
thing
week?
about being on a podcast is that you'll never know who's actually listening, right?
Yeah.
So it could result in some kind of opening to an area where we never went. We
Right.
never thought you would go, especially if you're in Los Angeles. It could wind up where you get certain doors opening for you that you weren't expecting.
Definitely. No, it's definitely a land of opportunity for sure. That's why I want to move here. Hopefully soon. Like within the next couple of months, I'd like to move to LA.
Oh,
Or
okay.
if you had a pick, you could only have one. Would you prefer acting or music? Singing.
Oh man, that's such a hard question.
I know.
Why make
That's what
her?
we do
Why
here. We
make
ask
her
the hard
pick though,
questions.
Greg?
Ooh.
What?
Well, I said, why make her pick?
Because it's interesting.
You didn't add vampire to that list, though.
Oh, that's another option. She could be both a vampire actor.
Well, no, you said you have to pick, so she's got to take one of the three:
You can
actor,
be both.
vampire, or musician,
But she's not a vampire.
Singer.
She's an actor and a musician.
She said she was a vampire.
I would like to be, or maybe I am. I don't know. I'll never tell. You know.
Okay, actor or musician?
Oh God, I'm gonna probably have to go with musician.
Oh, good.
So
good choice.
Spent those years at an acting academy to go into music. All right.
So hard. I love acting to death. I love acting to death. Wanted it since kindergarten. I love it to death. But I think music just really touches people's souls, and I just feel like it's so cool, like to be able to do a concert and be able to connect with like thousands of people, and you know, people singing your lyrics, and it's a bond that I feel like is so special that it's like so unbeatable. And acting is amazing, and I love movies so much, but I just think music really brings people together. You know what I mean? It really connects people. It really brings people together. And I feel like it's like the most special thing in the world, music. And I just don't think anything could beat music. I just think it's so important, you know, in life and everything, culture and life. So I think it has to be music.
Right. Well, obviously your passion is there, so that's where you should be.
It is. And yeah. I love movies to death. I love movies, and I love to be in a movie. But I just don't think there's anything like music. You know, I don't think there's anything like music. Just the bond it creates between people, the emotion it creates between people, the feelings, the love. It's just so important. So I'd go with music.
9 out of 10 vampires would agree with you.
Really?
Except the ones who are tone deaf.
That's right. There's that 1 out of 10 tone deaf vampire that would go, acting's better.
Acting's better. No, acting's cool. I mean, there's also nothing like acting. It's so cool. It's such a cool experience. But I don't know. I just think people connect more through music. I mean, I could be wrong, but in my experience, I think people connect a little bit more through music.
I want to say that music is so magical to me of all the art forms, because no other art form can force you to move, and you don't even want to. When you watch a movie, it doesn't make you want to dance or something, but music can actually, you'd be totally depressed, tired.
Right.
and you can't deny the good beat. You'll start moving around. It's
well, I think I have
crazy.
to disagree with you, Greg, regarding watching a movie. A movie can make you feel something other than dancing. It could make you
I
cry.
know.
It can
Yeah,
make you
so can
cry. It can
songs.
make you emotional. Whereas I've never cried listening to a song.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
All the time listening to music. Oh my
Well, you have
god.
to remember, Matt doesn't have a heart, much of a heart. He's kind of a soulless husk.
Never cried. I'm too emotional though, so I can't go by. But like I'm very emotional. I'll cry at like anything. So don't go by me.
You know, songs have that amazing memory thing where like it can suck you back to a certain time. Like you could hear a song from your childhood, and you could be like, it's almost like odors are smells. They really can take you back to a time. And I hate when I have a sad memory aligned with a happy song. Where like something really, I broke up with a girl while we were listening to this happy song. So every time I hear this happy song, I'm like, and then I get sad, even though it's a happy
What song are you talking about, Greg?
I can't think off the top of my head, but it's happened before where like it just certain songs really remind me of a time in my life. Maybe I wasn't having a good time. I was depressed, but they're happy songs. And I should be like, this is a fun song. I want to, tap my foot, but it's the opposite because it reminds me.
Your heart gets tapped instead.
Exactly.
Music can be very emotional. I mean, it's also fun. Obviously, people go to the club, people go to bars to listen to fun music, but it's also very emotional. You could take it both ways. I mean, there's so many ways and directions you can go with music. So it's just, I think that's what's cool about it. Is like you could really do whatever with it. It's just.
So I'm assuming your favorite form of music is polka.
Polka?
Polka. That's what you listen to the most?
She's too young to know what polka is. It's a dead music form.
It was dead when it was popular.
The people who listened to it were half dead usually.
Polka music, it's really hard to describe. It just involves a lot of bass drums and accordions, but I think that kind of sums it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And only old people like it.
Really? Oh,
yeah, pretty much.
When I worked at the radio station in college, and it was we had the slogan "From Bach to Rock," and they would have fundraisers every year, and the section that raised the most money for the radio station was the listeners to the polka show that was on. I think it was mainly this is in like the Baltimore metropolitan area, and I think there's just a lot of Polish people who settled in Baltimore, and that's why polka was very popular there.
Yeah,
in different parts of the East Coast. So, but if you ever get the chance, look up polka music. It'll be a whole new experience, and if you can align it with your current music, it should add a novelty to.
Don't do it, ARO. Don't look it up.
I don't know.
No, she can look it up. She just shouldn't add it to her current music. That's all.
Yeah.
But you never know, Greg. There can always be a comeback. There'd be the big polka comeback of the 2020s.
Techno polka.
Like swing music came back in the 1990s. We're going to have polka music coming back in the 2020s.
Could happen.
That's right. Beer barrels will be rolled all over the world because of the ascension of polka music again.
Mm-hmm.
And ARO doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, there's no reason.
Lucky
See,
her.
This is what happens when somebody comes onto a show with really old guys. We talk about things that you're not familiar with, and we're the only ones laughing about it.
I like learning now, so it's good to learn new things. Right?
I've heard that Lana Del Rey is big into polka music, so you might want to look into it more deeply.
Lana, oh my God, I love her so much.
I bet you anything that Greg doesn't know who Lana Del Rey is, though.
I've heard of her. I have heard people.
She's a queen.
I've heard people at karaoke sing her, so I kind of heard her songs maybe twice by other people.
Don't go by what other people say. She's so unique. You have to listen to her because no one can sing like her. She's so fantastic. Oh my God, I love her so much.
Actually, Greg, you'd appreciate one of her recent music videos because she's like the 50-foot woman in the music video where she's like trampling houses. I think she's doing a cover of a Sublime song called "Doing Time." I think that was the.
She did do it. It was so good.
Yeah,
the
it was
last
a really good
singer
version.
who impressed me,
but he doesn't know who Sublime is either.
The last singer who impressed me in the modern era is Lizzo. That's the only, I saw her once. And I realized what all the hubbub was about because I heard her name for a year. Everyone was saying, Lizzo, Lizzo. I was a karaoke host before shutdown, and we didn't have that, any Lizzo, every week. Do you have any Lizzo? Do you have any Lizzo? I was like, who the hell is this Lizzo? And when I saw her on one of those award shows, when she had giant buttocks balloons bouncing over her head, and she was wearing a bathing suit, and she was like, it was electrifying. She was her presence. I was just like blown away.
Beautiful. She has such a strong voice. So soulful. She has that like really soulful voice, man.
I'm curious about these giant buttocks balloons that Greg is talking about.
It was like the Grammy Awards or MTV Music Awards. They had these like twerking giant balloons that looked like butt cheeks. And all of her dancers were like big booty women, like plus size dancers. She had all these plus size dancers, which you never see. Usually dancers are, really thin. It was great. It was fun as hell. The crowd went nuts. The crowd was freaking out.
Were you feeling good as hell watching it, Greg?
I don't know the reference, but I imagine that's a song title.
It's a lyric from a Lizzo song.
Yeah,
anyway.
I was feeling good as hell.
Anyway, so yeah, I may be old, but I'm not as old seeming as Greg is because he doesn't even know these things. But at least you know who Lizzo is, Greg.
Yeah, hopefully. Catch her.
Lizzo's a good step.
Yeah, hopefully her career regains its momentum after the pandemic.
I think it will. She has a really strong fan base, so I don't think she's going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because she was one of those people where you're like, all right, this is a person to watch. She's definitely found a niche that's working for her, and she's
which is important. People have the voice, but then you also have to be a good entertainer, and I feel like she's a really good entertainer. So it just like works so well.
Well, that's a question I have for you. So for you, are you a good entertainer or are you a better singer, or do you think I mean, if you're going to have you done a lot of public shows yourself? Have you like performed at a lot of bars?
Honestly, no, not really. Just because when I just finished my album and I was just ready to release everything, COVID happened. So I kind of had to just shut it all down. So I've been really not doing much for like a year, I think.
Well, before COVID, were you like playing coffee houses or anything like that?
No, not really. I did perform one of my songs at Lee Strasberg, and it was pretty cool. I performed it actually as Eminem because it was a rap song, so it was pretty cool.
Wow.
What Eminem song did you perform?
It was my song, but I performed as Eminem. It was like a whole acting type thing that you had to pick one of your favorite artists and perform as them, but my teacher was kind enough to let me perform my rap song as Eminem. So I performed my song as Eminem. It was cool.
Could you give us like a stanza from one of your rap songs, get an idea of the style that you put into your songs in terms of your lyricism?
One of them is called Falling Apart. Okay. I only choruses, but I had a rapper rap the verses because I can't rap.
So did they improvise it, or did you write the rap for them?
No, I wrote the whole rap for them. I wrote all the rap songs I wrote myself, but I just rap it. But yeah, the one is called Falling Apart and the other one is called Ghost of You, and the chorus is young faces, broken hearts, just can't keep from falling apart. Look in the mirror, I don't like what I see, I'm just trying to be me. Young faces, broken hearts, can't keep from falling apart. And then it goes into like this whole story about just being broken and heartbroken. It's like really cool. So I think, yeah.
That sounds like
my whole teenage years you summed up in that course.
I was going to say that's my current life, Greg.
Yeah, actually, I
young
was
faces.
To myself.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's more, I would say, like old school rap. It's not really that like modern type rap. It's more like, I would say, kind of a 90s feel type song. But I just think it's cool because you could really like rap along with the lyrics and you could really understand the whole story. It's kind of like an Eminem song where like he really tells a story. He's like, it's like a story thing. So I think people will kind of like it. I mean, I hope people like it. But
so it's like more gangster rap, less Yeezy.
Yeah, it's not like a mumble rap type of song. It's more like, we're telling a story. That's kind of like what the songs are. It's like, we're here to tell this story. And if you like it and if you relate to it, then great. Then you have a song, a new song that you could sing to. But it's more of just like, we're just trying to tell a story.
Right.
So I think people will kind of appreciate that because I think it's pretty relatable.
For your next album, do you think you would do an album solely about fat vampires?
No, I don't know.
It's yours for free. You can do it.
So we'll
We
give you
will
the
be credit.
concept. You can take it wherever you want to go with it.
It's a good concept, I guess. Yeah.
We're giving you full permission. There will be no lawsuits if you decide to go somewhere with it. This is evidence right now because this is going to be played across the world to our 50 billion and 6 listeners that we have on our show.
We're huge in Bangladesh.
Yes, Greg actually
really
brings
big.
in the 50 billion. I bring in the 6.
Oh, I see. I
Yeah.
see. Okay. All right. Cool.
He has a very specific
Because the
fan base.
the facha here.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
So is it your mother or your father who's Puerto Rican?
My mother, yeah, she's Puerto Rican. Yeah,
No, she's what?
Yeah, she's 100% Puerter Rican.
Okay, was she a first generation American, or did she live here for?
First, her mother, I believe, her mother's from Puerto Rico. Yeah, her mom's from Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes you like a second generation American then.
Yes. Yeah. She was actually one of 17. My grandmother had 17 kids.
Holy mackerel.
17 kids. Yep.
She
Did you ever go?
Number 14, I think she was. I think she was like number 14 or one of those. But
it's like she didn't have a name. She was just number 14.
Yeah.
She got tired of naming the kids. I ran out of names.
All right, you're number 10. You're number 16.
I could not imagine raising 17 kids. What a nightmare.
So you must have a huge amount of cousins.
An obscene amount of cousins. I don't even honestly know them all. I don't even know. I wasn't, unfortunately, I wasn't really that close with my Puerto Rican side of the family because my mom passed away when I was 2 years old. And
I'm really sorry to hear that.
It's okay. Yeah, she passed away in 9/11. She worked in the Twin Towers.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But yeah, so my dad raised me and I'm an only child. So I really spent a lot of my time with my Irish and Italian side of the family, but I would have liked to get to know the Puerto Rican side more. But I never really got that close to them, unfortunately. But
do you know what your mother's maiden last name was?
Vega.
Oh, that's a pretty common last name. So, and that's actually associated with Quentin Tarantino movies too, in case you didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yes, he had two main characters in both Kill Bill and in Pulp. Actually, not Kill Bill, but in Reservoir Dogs and in Pulp Fiction, two different characters had the last name Vega.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, it's a pretty popular name.
So all the people listening who have the last name Vega, you're probably a cousin to ARO. So
probably.
There's a high chance.
There's a high chance. Really, there's a high chance. I want to go to Puerto Rico too. I've never been, but I'm dying to go. I'm dying to go to Puerto Rico.
Well, you need to talk to your manager about giving you a tour in Puerto Rico when your album
comes
out.
No, I want to go to Puerto Rico so bad. I feel like I would have so much fun there because I feel like Puerto Ricans are so much fun. We love to dance. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
Do you speak Spanish?
I know. I wish my mom did. And if she was here, I probably would have known Spanish, but unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to really learn. So
I think you can take the opportunity when your album comes out. You talk to your manager. Say, listen, I want to tour Puerto Rico stat. Like I want to be at all the Puerto Rican venues that are into Lana Del Rey and Lady Gaga's music or whoever else is your influence.
And Johnny Vega, the famous Puerto Rican star.
Oh yeah, is he, Greg? Johnny Vega?
In my imagination, he is. It's good enough for me. When you tour Puerto Rico, you should do all your songs in Spanish too. Make a nice crossover album.
She doesn't speak Spanish, Greg.
She can find someone to translate for her and do it phonetically. ABBA didn't know English.
La Quesadilla. Thanks for letting me be here.
Did you know that? That ABBA didn't even know English. They just did it phonetically. All those songs they sang.
Well, you should also know, Greg, the song Radar Love from Golden Earring. They're like a Swedish band, and they basically didn't even know the language themselves.
Wow, because they sound so American, those guys.
Exactly. And of course, I could be making this up because I never actually confirmed those facts, but it's something I read years ago that was the case.
On the back of a matchbook.
Yes, that's where I do most of my heavy reading is on the back of matchbooks.
Wow.
You totally like caused her to check out when you brought up matchbooks, Greg.
I'm not too sure what that is, but
Are they really that matchbooks are gone?
People use lighters.
lighters. Yeah, people use lighters.
This
Greg
world
doesn't
is
realize
changing.
how old he is.
Years maybe.
Greg, you're over a half a century old. You really need to put that in perspective.
Do you know what a
kiddo.
telegraph machine is?
Yes, I know.
A Betamax recorder?
Betamax.
You yeah. There.
A
It's like an
rotary
old
a
Blu-ray.
rotary telephone.
I know what that is. My grandma has one, so
Okay, that's good.
Still?
so she's from the 20s, so still has it.
I haven't seen one in like 30 years, 40 years. It's been so
Really?
long.
A
Yeah.
rotary phone?
Has
Yeah.
it. It's
Do you not
works.
watch movies or anything on TV that still
Well, I
have
see in
rotary phones?
movies.
Okay, well there you
I'm
go.
saying in real life.
Oh, fine. Real life, exactly. All right.
You don't
Well,
care about that.
we've exhausted our guest, I think, who's
No, I'm
on
so
her whirlwind tour of Los Angeles as she's visiting from New York, and she's been incredibly helpful in addressing our client. There are no fat vampires. So, ARO, I want to thank you very, very much for coming on. I'm sorry for the
Thank you.
delay. Apparently, I
Thanks,
gave a
ARO.
bad link for her to get on, and so we
No, I'm
get started.
I was just like, it kept saying no, and I don't know. But thank you for having me on, though. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and when your
Thank you.
album comes, get back in touch, and we'll see if we can do something then too. So we want to hear it. So there's that possibility too. So I want to say thank you to all of our 50 billion and 6 listeners to the Law Offices Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. We're done.
You've left the offices of Quibble, Squabble, and Bicker. It's over. It's over. It's time for you to go home. It's over. It's over. Go away now.